The United States is literally funding and arming a genocide, and they continually tell the world that the United States is the good guys. They're there to protect human freedoms and human rights and stuff like that. Yet they continually fund and arm a genocide, a terrorist government, as well as arm and fund terrorist groups around the world and commit their own terrorism because the United States is really big on committing terrorism as well as arming and funding terrorism. Cannot lie about that. It is just wild how, like, the United States is supposedly the good guys just because it has the strongest military and not because it's actually a morally good government.
But this is a tragedy in which we, the United States of America, are complicit. Much of what is happening, much of the bombardment and the other actions that we are seeing now is happening right now with U.S. arms and equipment. In other words, whether we like it or not, the United States is complicit in the nightmare that millions of Palestinians are now experiencing.
Yeah, what? Biden has authorized two emergency packages of weapons to the Israeli government. Maybe some cash funds as well. Biden knows that the Israeli government is committing a genocide, and he's doing all he can to make it seem like that's not what is happening. He's trying to lie to the American people because Joe Biden is a piece of shit.
Mr. President, the Wall Street Journal reported on December 1st that the U.S. had provided at least 15,000 bombs and 57,000 artillery shells to Israel, including more than 5,400 huge 2,000-pound bombs that can flatten entire neighborhoods. The Washington Post reported.
Why does the Israeli government need those kinds of bombs? Bombs that can level neighborhoods. How can you claim you're not killing innocent civilians when you're setting off bombs that level neighborhoods? Obviously, neighborhoods that can have, innocent people living in them.
Reported that in just 6 weeks after October 7th, Israel dropped more than 22,000 American-supplied bombs on Gaza. 22,000 American-supplied bombs. CNN reported that nearly half of these bombs were unguided, so-called dumb bombs.
Which means that the Israeli government is doing indiscriminate bombing of Gaza, which means innocent people die from that, which means the Israeli government is killing innocent people.
So, Mr. President, that is where we find ourselves at this moment. 24,000 Palestinians in Gaza are dead. 70% are women and children, and 60,000 have been wounded.
Wow, 70% of the 22,000 civilians killed is women and children. That's a lot of kids to die. I mean, like almost half of Gaza is kids, so it's no surprise that the high number of death toll is going to be like with kids. Biden and many others and our government knows this, and they're still going to support the Israeli government no matter what happens. It is insane how Biden pretends to be against right-wing fascism while supporting right-wing fascism.
70% of the housing stock has been damaged or destroyed, and almost 2 million people are trying to survive with inadequate supplies of food, water, medicine, or fuel.
And since the Israeli government controls majority of the Gaza border, besides one entrance and exit, the Rafah uh, passage into Gaza, uh, the lack of food, water, and other supplies is because of the Israeli government. And Bibi Netanyahu is looking to gain control of over the final piece of the Gaza border so he can complete his siege of Gaza.
And the humanitarian situation is getting worse by the minute. Hundreds of thousands of beautiful children are facing starvation. Mr. President, given the scale of the destruction and the extensive use of American arms, military equipment in this campaign,
You think like the right wingers and anybody else who claims to care about the life of innocent kids and stuff would be in favor of a ceasefire, the Israeli government stopping their attacks on innocent kids in Gaza. But you got a lot of them that are Zionist and will support the Israeli government no matter what they do, like Biden, who supports the Israeli government no matter what they do.
Congress must act. And that is why we must pass this 502B resolution. We must ensure that U.S. aid is being used in accordance with international human rights and our own laws. Mr. President, a vote for this resolution is simply to request more information on a tragic situation that the American people care about. Go back home, I say to my colleagues. Red state, blue state, purple state, this issue, this suffering is on the minds of the American people. And that's all that this resolution does. Now, a vote against this resolution, which I have a hard time really understanding, it says, quote, I don't want more information. I'm going to vote against this resolution. I don't want a report from the State Department. I don't want to know how U.S. military aid in Israel is being used. I don't want to know what responsibility the United States may have for this humanitarian disaster. I want to keep my head in the sand. I don't want to see what's going on. And frankly, Mr. President, no matter what your view on this terrible war may be, agree with me, you don't agree with me, we cannot bury our eyes in the sand.